So, Amanda, you've been in Kelowna for just over 2 years.
Yes.
What brought you to Kelowna in 2016?
So at that time, I was living in Vancouver with my fiance. We had been living there for a year. Thought we would love it there. Realized it was absolutely not for us. So,
See, where were you before that?
So before that, we were in Calgary.
Okay.
And in Calgary, we were there I was there for 3 years. That's where we met. My fiance is from Calgary. And we always kind of knew it just wasn't home for us. Like something just didn't feel right about it. Like we have family there and that was great. But for us, just like something was lacking. So we thought, okay, like we'll try to move. And my fiance really wanted to go to Vancouver. I really wanted to go to Kelowna actually at that time. And because of the work that we were in and what was best for us, Vancouver we thought was best for us at the time.
Right. So where are you from originally?
Him?
You.
Me. So I'm from the Kootenays. So yes, I say trail, but most people, because in Vancouver and Calgary, I feel like most people didn't know about trail, but now I can actually say I'm actually from Fruitvale, even smaller than trail. But yeah, so that's where I grew up.
Okay.
So I was aware of Kelowna. We would take like family trips there, and my grandparents used to live here, so we'd come visit them. So that was great. So I knew a little bit of why I kind of liked Kelowna already, but my fiance was like, it's not a city. Nope, we can't move there.
Right.
It's too small. Yeah.
Calgary to Kelowna.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I lived and worked in Nelson
Oh,
for
so
4
you-
years, so I
okay.
would come to Kelowna for the weekend.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. And what was wrong with Vancouver from your perspective?
Yeah, so Vancouver's a great city. There's really, it works for a lot of people, but for us it was too crazy and too busy, and we felt that we weren't getting to do the things we love, which was often going in nature, and like as much as there's great mountains and hikes and stuff to do around Vancouver area, it would take so long for us to get to them, and then when we would get to them, it would be like overrun with just tourists and people, and it just, we liked, like in Calgary, we liked just escape into the mountains, and it was just like you'd see a couple people on the hike, and that was it. And
right.
We missed that, and we were just too much nature people, so we missed that. Yeah, yeah.
So, did you have any disputes about Kelowna, or was it like, okay, we tried Vancouver, I wanted to go to Kelowna, and it was like, okay, you're right?
Yes, we did. So, I think the biggest thing that made the push happen was my fiance started getting more into real estate and learning about the market and learning that we probably couldn't afford buying anything in Vancouver. So Kelowna was affordable. So that kind of grew him, which I was so happy because I was like, yes, like secretly, this is where I've always wanted to be. And I was worried. It was a little touch and go in the beginning if he was going to like it. He really didn't know. Like, he just like, okay, let's go. Let's do this. We can buy. So we bought and we did it. And thank goodness he ended up loving it. So he loves it here now. He calls it like our long-term home. I call it our long-term home. So like now Kelowna is home for us. So that's pretty exciting.
That's wonderful. So when you say he got interested in real estate, you mean like buying something? Or
just to buy.
He didn't become a realtor.
No, he didn't become a realtor. No, no, not at all.
No problem.
Just kind of
when
learning about it.
He thought, hey, let's look at buying a house as a couple. And nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So you moved to West Kelowna.
Yes.
And any regrets so far?
No, none whatsoever. We are looking to buy into the Kelowna side, but honestly, like, we would be happy if we stayed in West Kelowna. Like, we absolutely love living there.
Right.
Yeah.
How many years did you work as a nurse?
So I worked as a nurse, I believe, 5 years. 5 years. Yes. Yeah.
Were you long-term care nurse or emergency room, or what did you do?
So I, in the beginning, bounced around a little bit. So started in med-surg, a little placement in emerge. I then went to get my gerontology certificate, and then I worked at a rehab facility in Calgary to help older adults get back into either the community or home. It was kind of like a in-between place to know.
So rehab, like drug addiction?
No,
rehab.
Sorry, not rehab, like rehabilitation as in like, so a lot.
Physio.
Everything, I would say. So like often everybody, older adults when they go to the hospital can really change the outcome. So like often when you're younger, you go into the hospital, you get Eugene for one thing, you can treat that one thing, and then you send the patient home. With older adults, they come in for something to do with their heart, and just laying in the bed can really mess up their immobility, which then can play a part on their brain, and just like it's a multitude of things. So instead of, often the research found that if you sent an older adult home, it was likely that they would just end up back in the hospital, because having them in the hospital created something else that wasn't dealt with. So it was basically taking older adults to our unit and assessing, like, could they go back home? Are they completely ready to go back home? Maybe is it time to look at going into a home, and just making sure, all aspects of their health, not just what they came into the hospital for, were treated before they would go home.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then moved to Vancouver and became a clinical educator and a clinical instructor at UBC. So I would have part of that was also at a what am I losing the word? But like a seniors facility. So then kind of took that knowledge and helped educate staff there, and then also had 6 first-year nursing students in the accelerated program at UBC.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as a nurse, you worked in all kinds of different fields of nursing.
Yeah.
And you started to do public speaking towards the end. A little bit.
I would say the public speaking started when I was doing a lot of research in nursing. So that was kind of a passion for me that started closer to when I finished my nursing degree. However, the public speaking, I would say, came more once I started to become more open about my personal struggles and what was going on then. Then people started asking, when I was becoming more vocal about it, then people started to ask me to share my stories, and that's when I would say it started to happen. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So out of all those aspects,
Yeah.
what was your favorite part of nursing?
Ooh, man, that's a great question. I loved being a nurse. I guess I technically am still a nurse, but I'm not practicing right now. And I think my soft spot is for older adults. So like people kind of told me, oh, don't go into that area of nursing. It's not very glamorous, or you could be doing other things. And I could understand why they would tell me those things. There's definitely like a lot of challenges. But I don't know, like I was super close with my grandparents, so I think maybe that led me to just have like a complete weakness for older adults and just absolutely love being involved in their lives and hearing their stories and learning from them. And that made my job much more enjoyable. Yeah.
That's really nice. We interviewed a nurse last week, and she worked in emergency for most of her career. Yeah. And I asked her, was it stressful, seeing people with injuries coming in? Yeah. Did you find it stressful seeing people, suffering or going through some physical issues that maybe in some cases aren't resolvable because they're terminal and they need to go into a rest home? How did you personally cope with?
I think I was quite strange in a good way, in this area, because I think I had turned off so many of those emotions that for me it was like I had to be the strong person for them. Yeah. And so like I wasn't going through my difficulties. They were going through their difficulties. Like it wasn't about like, I don't know. I was very,
Is there, so I understand what you mean. Like you're in a support role. So. Yes.
It almost triggered me more to just show up for these people, I guess. And I think because, so when I first graduated from my nursing degree, I ended up actually getting a terminal diagnosis myself. Rare tumor diagnosis. So I had at the time 2 tumors in my neck and 2 tumors in my head. And doctors told me I didn't have much time left to live.
And so when was this?
This was in 2012, so 6 years ago. Yeah, and so from that, it started this whole beautiful transition to where I am now, which I didn't even realize. But I definitely hit a really dark place, and it definitely affected my nursing, but in the beginning, because I was upset with, I guess, people who didn't take life and living seriously, people who wanted to kind of abuse the healthcare system. But then once I worked on myself and transitioned into like healing myself, I realized it was the best thing truly to happen to me to then relate to patients better, because like I then, like, I had my time of my grieving and my processing, and I can relate now better to what people are going through. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think more palliative care kind of really stuck with me as well. And where I kind of excelled at is because I could then, relating to my own experiences, help people in their struggles that way. So, yeah.
So what about the diagnosis? Is it cured?
It's not. So, I had these 2 tumors, 2 in my neck, 2 in my head. 2 were surgically removed. The 2 that were supposed to take my life are still in my head. And the truth is, doctors have no idea why I'm still alive. I was supposed to lose my vision, lose my hearing, lose my ability to smell, my ability to speak. All these things were supposed to happen, and they just haven't. So yeah, exactly. So
wow. Yeah. And I guess it's not safe to remove those.
Exactly, they're inoperable. I'm rare, so people have these tumors, and often they'll just grow on one side of their body versus both sides of their body. I happen to have them grow on both sides of my head. Huh. So not getting too technical with the process, but basically if they were to go remove my jugular body, which is essentially what they would have to take out one of the tumors, I could survive without one. But because these tumors grow off the blood supply, they would increase blood supply to the opposite side, growing it, and you can't live without both. So that's kind of the general senses of that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
You seem perfectly healthy, so
yeah.
I mean, I would never know this.
Yeah, truly, and I truly think like I just make the most of my life, and I'm actually feel like happier now with this. My life is better than it was before finding out about this diagnosis, because it allows me to realize that like our life really is short. Like we don't get forever, and so it allows me to make choices to. Live how we want to live, just move to Kelowna if we want to move to Kelowna. That's what I really want,
Not waste time.
Not waste time, exactly. So, it's my blessing in disguise, I call it. Probably like one of the best things that ever happened to me. Sounds crazy, but true. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you started a business.
I started a business.
Tell us what it's like to start a business in a brand new city. You didn't know anybody when you came here, right?
No.
Just your fiance.
Yeah, we didn't know anybody. It's interesting. Definitely, I could see why entrepreneurs go through like the emotional roller coaster of processes. I think also I was lucky because I went through such an emotional roller coaster with learning about my diagnosis. So I had to work on myself and learn how to overcome my mind and strengthen my mind for that process. So that definitely helped me kind of into this process. And I think in that learning is I truly believe like we can do anything we want in our life as long as we put our minds to it. Like there is ways, there's avenues, there's supports, there's ways of making things happen. So having that definitely made it easier to start the business in Kelowna, not knowing anybody. But the other thing that I felt right away made a difference is, so I started for a couple months in Vancouver before we moved, but I felt such a huge sense of community in Kelowna that you didn't feel in Vancouver. Like Vancouver, there's so many entrepreneurs and everybody's doing their thing to hustle and try to make it happen, but I feel like everybody kind of already has their groups or their ways, and to really try to break into that I found was really difficult. And mind you, I only did it for a few months, so that's not really a long enough time to really judge that scenario. But then coming to Kelowna, which I felt a huge difference from Calgary and Vancouver, was the sense of community. And I had that in a small town, but I feel like I never had that in the big city. So to have it in like a city place here was phenomenal. Like I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
I think Kelowna is kind of the best of both worlds because it's got a small town feel in some ways, but there's enough population here that you can actually have a business and make some money.
Exactly.
Nelson, it was almost impossible.
Yeah.
I found anyways, but because it was so small.
That's where you try to start up a business in Nelson?
I did, yeah. So you said you had a belief that anything is possible and you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
Yes.
And I got this sense that you felt your belief was a little bit challenged when you started. Did you have some setbacks or was everything easy peasy?
two parts to that. I would say it's always challenged because I think that's normal life. That we always are going to have obstacles or like our own self-doubt. And I always believe that it's work that you have to put in to overcome that strength. And the other thing, for people always ask me, like, what have been the barriers? I'm like, yeah, there have been like small barriers. I can't make a decision, or I picked the wrong person and I lost some money, or to hire for this and that. But I don't know, like, once I started this business, and it's kind of funny how I started it, everything started to feel like I was on the right path. Like I should be doing this. So I feel like there haven't been too many great struggles. And mind you, I'm like now in like the first year of marketing, and that hasn't been easy. It's another new learning curve, so I'm sure there's more struggles to come with that. So yeah.
So do we say aim plus glow or aim and glow?
So I know it's incorrect, but I do say aim and glow.
Right.
I just thought the plus line looked prettier.
I think it looks better. Yeah. So aim and glow. Where does the name come from? What is the business?
Yeah. So I'll jump around to that. So the business actually started from a product. That is why I decided to put nursing on hold to start the business, and I'll get into that. But so Aim and Glow kind of was like the name that came after the product, and the product is called Enthusiastic Changemaker. And Aim and Glow is simply like, it's a wellness movement. I want people to realize like that health and happiness is possible, and it's all about helping you set your aim so you can find your own glow.
Nice. Yeah. So is it personal coaching?
No, it's not. So so basically what Enthusiastic Changemaker is I call it a planner. So it's a book. Okay. It is much more than a planner. I feel like it shouldn't be just called a planner, but truly it was like the name I went with that people can relate to. So a lot of typical traditional planners are about time slots and scheduling and kind of just putting your to-dos in, whereas the Enthusiastic Changemaker is more about focusing on you and helping you create a better balance in your life. And it does this by focusing on 5 key components. So we got your change making, your self-love, your physical movement, your food health, and your creative space. And the whole reason why I created this product was because I was going through my own personal struggles, and I was trying to find, and I hit depression, and I was trying to find a way to overcome that, get a hold of my life again. I felt very lost, and often I would, at one point it got really bad, so I realized, I just needed to figure out a new system, so I dove into research, counselors, support groups, retreat, like self-help books, anything I could find. And then I would, try something for a little bit, feel great for a bit, and then kind of fall back down. And it was just like up and down, and I was getting kind of frustrated. I'm like, I'm trying all these things, and I just want to get to that point where I'm kind of feeling at least a little bit more normal in my life again, back to how I was before my diagnosis. And what I discovered along the way is we really have to balance mind and body. And I feel like often we're just tell yourself to be happy, and then that's the solution, or go exercise and that's the solution, or go eat well and that's the solution. But I truly believe it's a little bit of everything. And so I started tracking all what I was doing in a notebook, because I was just so desperate that if my tumors were going to take my life, they sure as heck were not going to take my happiness before I went. So I was so desperate to what could make me happy? What could I do for myself? And so I found the system, and it worked for me. And my life truly started to turn around in so many better ways. With nursing, I sort of touched on it a little bit. I started to appreciate nursing in my standpoint versus kind of looking at it negatively. I started to look that I could be loved in life, because I kind of thought I was a damaged goods sort of thing. And I had this whole emotional process to go through. And then once my life started picking up, I found love. I was excelling in my nursing career. Then I had people who knew what was going on with me. They're like, what are you doing? I'm struggling with this, and I'm not happy. What is going on? Give me your secret kind of thing. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, what? It's not secret. I thought this was my own sort of struggles. And then, I gave my little system to friends and family, and really didn't expect much, just was trying to offer some help. And it was actually seeing their results as well that inspired me to be oh my goodness, maybe I actually have something that can help people. And talked it over with my fiance, and was just took my savings from my job that was supposed to go into our home, and was no, I'm going to start a business instead. And he was so supportive, because he saw the results of the people in our lives. And long and behold, made the book Enthusiastic Changemaker, and that's what started the business.
Nice. You didn't bring a copy.
I did, actually.
Oh, great.
Yes, because it's kind of a confusing product to describe. So.
Yeah, so I want to see it so I can ask you some questions.
I have a sample one here. This one.
So it's a beautiful book with a ringed binder, and it's a planner. And there are 5 aspects to it.
Yes.
What do these 5 symbols on the cover represent? Tell us the 5.
Yep. So those are kind of like the key components that I touched on. So I'll open it here so you have a visual. It's a little bit easier too on the weekly layout.
Okay.
So we have your change making, and that simply is like, what are your goals? Why are you using the planner? What do you want in life? What is your mindset? If it's just focusing on happiness, which mine was at the time, it's like, what are some exercises we can use to just focus on mindset? Self-love, how are you taking care of yourself emotionally? You know, if you often think that you want something, do you believe in your ability to get to that point? Do you believe in yourself? Are you giving yourself negative self-talk? Physical movement, what are you doing for your body? How are you moving your body every day? Because we know that moving the body is good for the brain. So if you're going to heavily focusing on something that you're trying to change with your mind or your aspect of your life, you're going to need to move your body. Food health, what are you consuming in your body? So you know, I feel like medicine or food is a form of medicine or a slow form of poison. It's like, what are you putting into your body? Is that contributing to your overall health? And there's so much research now too of like how different foods that you eat can actually contribute to anxiety, depression, and a lot of mental health concerns that we're finding out. So that's been kind of exciting to learn about as well. And create a space what's true and unique to you, because I feel like we got to get back into like the creativity of like, you know, what do we even want? Like what is unique to us? Like what kind of changes do you want to make? And so it's simply about kind of tracking what you do in those five key components.
Yes.
And giving yourself really a self-awareness piece of like, what am I doing in my life now?
Right.
You know, and what are my good habits, or maybe what are my not so good habits, and how you can make some changes going forward.
So it can be a planner, but also a journal.
Yes.
So you can look back and say what's working, what's not working.
Exactly.
So in these boxes, you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on.
Yeah.
You would put like 1 or 2 things that you want to do in each of those aspects, right? So, for example, physical movement.
Yep.
I'm going to go for a walk on Wednesday because it's my day off and forecast says sunny. So you're just thinking ahead a little bit and you're trying to do something in each of the 5 categories every day.
Yes, exactly. That's it, and it's simple. It's really a simple process. It's not a lot, but I feel like often we think we're doing better for ourselves than what we often are. So it's really the act of writing it down. You get that blank look in the face of like, oh, this is what I'm really doing.
This looks great. And then you've got a monthly check-in.
Yes.
So what's that all about?
So basically, in the beginning of the planner, there's goal-setting exercises, like what is your desired story, what is your current story. Let's help you break that down even smaller. So it's all about small, actionable steps. Mm-hmm. And the monthly check-in is like, basically, like instead of just getting caught up in the day-to-day of what you're doing, like why are you using this planner? Like let's go back to, check in to make sure you're still on the right track of why you even picked it up in the first place. Mm-hmm. So checking in, are you on the right path? Are you working towards steps towards your goals? Your rating system. So each week there is a rating system. So you can kind of see, why did I rate this week a 3-star? Like, why did I feel so good about this week? What did I do in this week? Why is this a 1-star? Oh, like, I'm eating poorly. I'm not sleeping that well. Wow, look at this week. When I actually made myself exercise 4 times a week, I definitely felt an overall better in my days. So that this kind of is on the month is like a monthly check-in of overall kind of like, is there patterns to your month? Is there not? Just kind of an overall view. Yeah. And the big successes in the monthly check-in is just like, what are all the good things you're proud of? So in per week, we do the small successes. So it's like with a goal, there's like, it's often big and daunting and we have to think about all these things we need to do to get there, but that's not the process. It's like, what are the small things you're doing? Like you, chose to go for a walk on Wednesday, like you said, your example, but you went outside and realized you didn't have time to make it your full long loop that you normally want to do. So you did 2 blocks, but you still did something, you still made yourself do it. So it's like keeping track of like that you are still moving towards your goals And it's about creating that successful mindset for yourself versus like, oh, I didn't go for a long enough walk. Now I feel like I'm a failure. Right. So, and then the big successes of just stopping, reflecting. And it's pretty exciting to see how much you do in a month. And then moving forward, if there's anything you want to change going forward. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So creative space. I want to talk about that one a little bit. So let's say someone is like a corporate drone and they just like enter data all the time and they come home, they're mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
What do you recommend a person puts in there? So maybe they have a hobby.
Yeah. And I think, my first thing I always jump to is like art therapy, simply because I feel, well, for me, that was a huge one. I think when we're kids, like creativity is so important. And then we get into the real world and like, we don't have time for those things. Our jobs don't allow it. Our responsibilities don't allow it. And, actually I feel like, for me too, of like one of the big things is like I'm not a painter. I'm not a creative person in my adult life. I would say that at all. But I just started. I went to the dollar store. I got some paints. I just was like, I'm gonna paint. I'm just gonna like do this. And it was not pretty, but it was just like tapping in again to like, what do you like? Because like I feel like often people don't even know where to start. What do they even want, sort of thing. So especially if you're on a computer, definitely avoid the screens and just find something creative for you. What did you do as a kid? Like bring a little bit of that back into your life and allow your brain to go there again. Use the other side of it.
So it could be anything. Lego, arts.
Lego.
Light bright,
yeah. Games, like anything.
Just anything that's creative that you will enjoy. Yes. And you want to try to fit a little bit in every day.
Exactly. And the other thing, like if people don't want to do that, like the planner is blank, so you can bring in your own kind of practices. But like it could be, tracking how much you sleep. It could be tracking your bowel movements. Nurses and me is really important for a lot of people, right? Like it could be lots of different sort of habits that you have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and then food to health, you can say, you know what, I'm going to try a new smoothie recipe on Tuesday because I'm going grocery shopping on Monday. So you write that down.
Yes.
So it's just becoming self-aware of your patterns, your habits.
Yes.
It's really great. This is a really beautiful book.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the process of creating this? So do you have a printer? Did you have a lot of work reworking the design? And was it a long process or did it just kind of come out of you because you had already been implementing these systems in your own life?
No, it was definitely a struggle. So you mentioned what were some of the struggles before. So, I was a nurse at heart. I believed you go to school, you get an education. The entrepreneur in me did not exist. I just knew I had an idea and I believed in it so much from seeing the results from friends and family that I had to do it. I don't know, this weird feeling came over me that it just felt like I had to do it. But yeah, the process was challenging. I had no idea where to start, what to do. Google became my best friend. Researched like crazy, and it was hard. It was hard finding what to do, all that stuff. I didn't know even I didn't know the different business structures. I didn't know who to even, I didn't know a graphic designer was called a graphic designer. Like I didn't know, I didn't even know who to look for. So it wasn't just like, oh, you look for somebody to design the book and then you look for somebody to print the book. And I also looked for people all across Canada to print the book. And I started to go to the US and realized oh my goodness, the costs were just exuberant. And I was like, okay, it was a lot. It was definitely a lot. I can't downgrade the work. There's definitely work if you want to put into it, but I definitely still think it's completely possible because of the drive. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. But what specifically? I had just truly the internet was my best friend. I just searched and searched and searched, and I didn't have people in my life really to turn to because I didn't know too many entrepreneurs. So the ones that I did know, I did turn to them for support at that time, and any information helped. So yeah.
So this is being sold online?
Online, yeah, and Indigo here in Kelowna, and the Doorway in Trail. So those are the two stores and online right now. Yeah.
Very nice. So what are you working on now? Are you trying to get into more retail stores? Are you trying to bring your printing costs down, or is it basically a set product and you sit back and the money rolls in?
Oh, no, I wish. No, it's not. It's definitely still learning. I feel like I'm learning every single day. It's fun, though. It's new challenges. But no, I am definitely trying to spread awareness of the planner. I've so far just started in markets, and so I've approached a few stores, and that's about it. I definitely want to approach more stores. I'm also working on an online course that people can use. So like I'm just offering my personal experience and the exercises I found and use. This is very blank slate, so you can bring in your own health habits and make it unique to yourself. But I want to work on a course, potentially a retreat in the future, and just getting it out there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just something off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Because I do have some background in marketing.
Okay.
So if you develop an online course, say it's like 5 modules,
yeah,
right? Because you're going to cover each of the 5 topics, right?
Yeah.
And then you can have a coupon that you tear out inside the front page of the book.
Oh, I like that.
So it's like if you buy this planner, you get 50% off the on course, and I'll show you how to use it.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, goodness. Thank you.
And then you can do a little 30-second video on your website saying that.
Yeah.
Just so you know, it's a great planner. That's why I love it.
Yeah.
And if you buy it, there's a coupon inside the book, and you get 50% off this course.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to do that. I'm definitely going to incorporate that. Thank you.
Glad I can help.
Yeah.
So what if your creativeness is also your exercise? So I'm thinking here, I love to garden. I love the creativity of creating a beautiful garden. I also count that as my exercise because you're squatting and you're bending and you're always walking.
Yeah.
Can you do that with this book? Can you cheat yourself?
Can you cheat?
It's not cheating.
But you absolutely can, because all it is, right? So then you decide to yourself, am I going to classify that as my physical movement or my creative space or both potentially? And you're tracking it, and you will get that piece of like, am I doing good? Is this enough for like, and you will see right there, like, this is what I'm eating. Is my gardening enough, health combating that sort of thing? Like, am I having days where I'm feeling really sad? Maybe I need to do more than gardening if it's not cheering me up, sort of thing. So you will have that sort of like right there for you. Yeah.
And when you got the diagnosis, did you feel like you became more empathetic to your patients? Were you able to connect? Like, I know you touched on it. Were you able to connect more with them? Or did you still feel a little detached from them?
I would say initially, so fell in love with nursing while I was going through the nursing program, loved patients, loved it all. But I think initially I became more distant. I felt like anger building up in myself because I wasn't dealing with the news myself. And I found it especially obvious when I would have... And I was working in med-surg and emerge at that time, so you would get all various patients, everything. And, when someone came in and felt like, they just wanted a quick fix solution, didn't really care about their life, didn't really care about their health, just give me this drug, give me this fix, get me out of here, sort of thing. It just frustrated me, and like their attitude really frustrated me because they're like, and being young too, they were like, oh, you're some young nurse, what do you know about life, and what do you know about this? And you're just sitting there like, apparently I have a ticking time bomb in my head and I could drop dead right now, and I'm sitting here taking care of you and dealing with this. Like I was definitely angry. There was a lot of emotions that I had to go through, but then over self-help and learning to deal with my own emotions and my acceptance of what I was told about myself really transformed me, and I think to being the best nurse possible, because yes, I became more empathetic, sympathizing, and just like realized that like any news sucks for people. It really does. And like just because mine was more serious, it doesn't mean that theirs is less serious, and understanding that was their difficult time, and like they're needing that next drug. So it's like I felt like I could have those conversations and be like, and like when they would complain and it would be like, oh, it sucks, before I think my naive nurse would be like, no, it's fine, we just have to do this and get on with it. But like then I could actually sit with patients and be like, yeah, this does suck, like let's talk about it, it really sucks, like I can talk about it with them. So yeah, it changed for sure.
Great. Is this calendar good for a full year? A full year.
I think it's actually more than a year, because I get 5 weeks per month. So 60 weeks, I think.
Nice.
That is, yeah.
That's
or did I say that? 5 weeks per month?
That's nice. I bought, it's funny because I bought 2 planners recently. And one of them, I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And I get to the end and I'm like, wait a second, when did I buy this? It was 3 months.
Right.
And it was so expensive. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yes.
I don't want to buy 4.
Yeah.
And then I got another one, which was a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it seemed to have lots and lots of pages. And then I got to the end and I was like, I don't think it's been a full year. And it was 6 months.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is with these people? Like,
No, I've had that happen, and I understand, like, as a business strategy, but I've had that happen to myself as well, and I remember feeling so frustrated, like, what? Like, I thought there was a whole year in here, so, like, that was kind of, like, and being, like, a person who used planners before, made sure I put in, like, all the things there that I really resonated with. Like, it's undated, for example, because if you fall off the wagon, so to speak, you can jump back on, and you don't waste the whole planner.
Right.
Yes.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
Who would you like to nominate to come on the show?
So I recently met Koa from...
How do you spell Koa?
Koa.
Okay.
Koa Hughes from Duffy Baker Construction. We were doing this talk together one night, and she just like blew me away of like how she spoke, and I think it's so great because like their construction business is doing really well, and then they like found a way to give back into the community, which is helping Mamas for Mamas, and helping, like, they have a plot of land now, and they're getting fresh food that people can eat and have access to, which I think is absolutely incredible. And I absolutely loved how she just like talked about, you know, your life is your responsibility, and about taking action forward steps, and it just resonated with her. I think she is someone so incredible. And then the other person I really want to mention is also Shannon from Mamas for Mamas, and I feel like she's much more known in the Kelowna community, and I had heard of Mamas for Mamas, but I kind of like didn't really get to know it all that well because I'm not a mom, so I was kind of like, oh, it doesn't really apply to me, this and that. But Shannon and I actually spoke at a West Coast Women's Show in Vancouver 2 weekends ago, and getting to know her and her personality, I was just like, wow, like, no wonder Mamas for Mamas is doing so well, because like it's people like this like behind it. I just think she's absolutely incredible, and like someone to definitely talk about in Kelowna. Yeah.
Great. And just tell us briefly, what is Mamas for Mamas? What do they do?
So basically, for moms in the community who can't afford, basic necessities or support or resources, like, they cover everything. And I don't even know the full extent of it at this point. Like, I definitely want to learn more, but basically you can make an appointment, and there's like social workers, there's a karma market where it's like free some goodies, and it's like really great stuff that brands are like supporting too and stuff. So basically a mom who's struggling can come in and get the girls set up there, and they just help with like everything. And like one of the things I learned about recently, which I thought was really neat, is like they will even like there's toys for children as well, but say if like a young child was invited to a birthday party and they felt like they couldn't go because they couldn't afford like a gift for that person, and then their child gets excluded, well, they can also take a gift like for another child from the karma market. I thought that was just such a sounds like they've just thought about everything.
Sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank
it's been
you
a great
so
conversation.
Much. Yes, it has. Thank you so much for having me and asking all these great questions.
Oh, last question.
Yeah.
Do you have a website where we can buy this wonderful calendar?
Oh, yeah. So the website is Aim and Glow.
Aim and Glow with the plus sign.
And it's written out and. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. It just
all right. We'll link to everything in the show notes. So.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
Great. Thanks so much.
Luke Mankus is a realtor. He loves what he does. We asked Luke if he had any regrets about moving here in 2011. And he always says, yeah, one regret. And that is he didn't move here sooner. When Luke came here, he didn't know anyone. He didn't know the neighborhoods or anything or anyone besides his daughter, who was 6 years old at the time. So he knows what it's like. Now, he's an expert and has helped well over 100 single people, couples, families, and investors with their real estate needs in the Okanagan. If you're new to our beautiful city, Luke can help you get connected with great lawyers, dentists, carpenters, landscapers, swimming pool installers, you name it. And whether you're new to Kelowna or not, Luke knows real estate. He can help you find a great property, negotiate a good deal, and hold your hand all the way through the process until the day you get your shiny new set of keys. Luke is known as a no-pressure kind of guy. He's He's had clients where it took even a year or more to get them into a property. He just doesn't believe in rushing things. On the other hand, when you decide it's time to act, he's diligent, and he'll work day and night until the job is done. Give Luke Mankus a call or a text message at any time, 778-215-4273. Again, that's 778-215-4273. 778-215-4273 to chat with Luke about real estate.